I've been dealing since 1983, and believe me, folks, I have seen it all and smelled it all. And decades ago, players actually were better blackjack players because they played a little bit more competitive. Today, players just play way too aggressive, and it's whacked out blackjack, and that's why people lose. But I'm going to teach you how to play a more conservative basic strategy. I'm going to start out now with the brand new beginner that has never really played on a live casino blackjack game before. Then we're going to go to more advanced strategies. This shoe, I just threw the cards in. They're not shuffled in any particular way. So I'm just going to bring the cards out and we'll talk about the play of the cards as we go along. If you'd like to zoom in on this card here, you can follow on a little better. Starting out, we're going to play extremely conservative basic strategy, which is how I suggest everyone plays when they're just starting out as beginners and when you're playing on your initial bankroll. So on the very beginning here, this says that there's only one decision-making factor on the game, and that is the dealer's up card. And I say that in particular because oftentimes other players on the game will influence the play that an individual player will make. But this is it. You will only make your decision strictly and only on the dealer's up card. The dealer's up card will tell you how to make every play on the game that you need to make as a decision maker. So let's bring the cards out to begin with. First of all, when a player enters into the table games area, each and every table game will have a minimum limit sign on it. That will tell the player exactly what the minimum bet is that they need to make to buy in and make in order to get their hand of blackjack. So the player puts, for instance, $20 on the game. The dealer will make their change, and the player will place their bet into the betting circle, and the dealer brings out the cards. Now all the players will get their first card in sequence, and the dealer brings out their first card. Each player gets their second card, and the dealer reveals the up card. This is what we call the down card. Nobody sees that until the dealer is ready to turn over their hand. So on the game of blackjack, as I say, the only decision-making factor is this dealer's up card. And this card is a very high card, as opposed to the decisions that the players will make when there's a low card. So in this regard, when the dealer is showing 7 or more, now the players need to hit to make a competitive hand. So this first player has 16. They will gently tap the table, and the dealer gives them their card. It's a 5. It's a 21. This player is Pat with a 19. This player has 6. So this player needs to draw to make a competitive hand. Now they have 11, and one more is 14. So this high card, 7 or more, the player needs to continue to draw to get a competitive hand. And they have a 20. They wave off. Dealer goes to the next card. This is a 9. The player gently taps the table. The dealer gives them an 11. It's another tap. It's a 14. And the player does not have a competitive hand yet, so they need to tap the layout. Well, this is a bust, so the cards come down. And this is a 15. Gently tap the table. And this is a bust. The dealer turns over their house card. It's a 15. The dealer draws to 16 and less. 17 being a beginning starting point of a competitive hand. So the dealer has to draw a card. And they get an 18. This is a winner. This is a winner. And this is a winner. And it's rapid fire, so the player continues to make their bet. Here we go. Another big card. So the dealer has to peek under here to make sure they don't have a blackjack. And there's no blackjack, so we go to the first hand. This is not competitive. The player draws and has an 18. This is a competitive hand. 13, player draws. This is a bust. This is blackjack. This pays 1.5 to 1. So if you've got $4 bet, this pays $6. And here we have 6. This is not competitive. Here's 13. 19. This is a competitive hand. So this player has 14. They need to draw. 15. Continue to draw. And this is a bust. Dealer turns over their hand. 15. Must draw. And the dealer busts. These players win. So the object is to either draw to make a competitive hand, depending on what the dealer's up card, or it is to stand pat when the dealer shows 6 or less. Let's see what we get in this hand. And it's another big card. I'm gonna go ahead and play this out. 14, draw. This is 17, is competitive. This player has a pat hand of 20. They wave off. 13, 17, needs to draw. 15, not competitive yet. And we have a competitive hand at 19. Now this is a split. So this player, I'm gonna get some chips here. This player makes a split. These aces are the only natural split on the game, and they get 1 card each. 19. We've got a winner and a loser. Push. 19 push. 17. This is a winner. This is 17. I'm going to try to illustrate a small card. Let's see if we can get one here. This is a 7. This is not a small card, but I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to burn this one. I'm going to bring a small card. So here we have a 6 or less. So if you look here for a competitive, conservative, basic blackjack strategy, when the dealer shows a small card, now the players do not want to draw the bust card. Remember, when the bust card shows, the dealer draws, the idea is to get the dealer to bust. Then everybody wins. So when the dealer shows 6 or less, let me see if I can get a 6 in here. Okay. So when the dealer shows 6 or less, the player does not draw on these 13s, 15s, 15s, 13s, because this is what we call a bust card. And the player does not want to draw the card that would bust the dealer. When the dealer busts, everybody wins. As opposed to 7 or more. Now the players need to draw to make a competitive hand. So this is what we mean by the dealer showing 6 or less. The players do not draw on 12 through 16 because they do not want to draw the card that would bust the dealer. As opposed to when the dealer shows a higher card, which is 7 or more, now the players need to draw to make a competitive hand. So we're going to move on to the next rule on conservative basic strategy. And these are how to increase your bet depending on what your hand is and what the dealer shows. So this is it. When the dealer shows a 6 or less, let me bring those out. When the dealer shows a 6 or less, and the player has an 11 or an 11 or a 10 or ace deuce. The player has an option to increase their bet, and that is the player's initial bet and the player doubles down. They double their bet and they get 1 card down. Double down. And that's when the dealer shows 4, 5, or 6. So then the dealer draws to 16 and gets a 21. 21, this is a push. 13, this is a loss. And the dealer gets a 21 and the player has 17. So this is a loss. This is a push. When the player shows the same as the dealer, this is a push. So let me pick up all of these. Now I'm going to show you the splits. I said previously, when the player had the pair of aces, that pair of aces is the only natural split in this game. There are many times on the game that the other players are going to influence you to split and double down, but I'm teaching you now to play conservative basic strategy, and you make your decision strictly and only by the dealer's up card. So I'm telling you now that aces are the only natural split on the game. It's not aces and eights. It's only aces. Let me show you the thing about eights, because you're going to hear it on the game over and over and over again. Oh, you split aces and eights. Well, that, my friends, is an urban myth. This is the concept between eights. When the player has a 16, it is so bad that the player has an option to split it up at twice as much in order to hope to get something. That's why I'm coaching you now that aces are the only natural split in the game, not eights. So, one thing further, the rule here is never split tens and never split sixes. The thing about tens, and I know that many players like to think, well, if I start out with a face card, I have a really good chance to make a hand. But the fact of it is, in strategic blackjack play, 20 is the second most natural winner on the game, second only to blackjack. That's why the player does never split tens. And they don't have to be a matching pair like this. You don't split jacks either. 20 is the second most natural winner in the game, second only to blackjack. Now, a lot of players now, they split every single thing they can possibly think of and put more bet up there, and guess what? They lose. That's why players lose on blackjack these days. They split too much, they double down too much. Here's a pair of sixes. The reason why you do not split sixes is because the six, there's 33% of the deck are tens. So you have a 33% chance. 1/3 of the deck. 1 in 3 chances to get a 16. The 16 is the worst hand in the game. So another thing we have here, I'm going to explain, is when the dealer gets an ace up and the player has blackjack. Insurance is on every blackjack layout in the world. And insurance is easily the most misunderstood part of this game. Insurance is nothing more and nothing less than this card, the dealer's down card, is a 10.